Стая. Отряд сокрушителей проклятий, шедший на поля Каравы через Стейбер, встретили деревенских охотников, которые посоветовали не сходить с главной дороги, ведь во враге неподалеку устроил логово стая волков. Даже опытные звероловы не готовы рисковать жизнью ради заманчиво блестящей шкуры этих кровожадных тварей. Слишком много друзей погибло, пытаясь изловить их.
Thanks, girl. You're on my side, Total. Shouldn't have messed with the leader of the pack, eh, boy?
Жуткая комета. Тейберийские охотники рассказывают о диком чокобо, что преследует их не только на здешних пустошах, но и в кошмарных снах. Эта необыкновенно яростная птица разрывает людей пополам и пожирает окровавленную плоть. Жертв уже больше десятка. Приручить такого чокобо не дается, остается лишь прикончить его.
No chocobo I've ever seen. Something tells me it won't be easily broken. There's nothing I can do.
Ah, Clive. Just the man I was hoping to see.
Oh? And why is that?
You remember how some of Sir Wade's guardians took up residence here after the Akashic attacked? Well, now the rest have come to join him. Seems their barracks in the Lazarus have been lost to an ether flood. Now, I don't mind having a few more brave boys around to keep them animals at bay. I ain't daft after all. But we ain't got nowhere for 'em to bed down. Poor buggers are having to make do with haylofts and chocobo pens. I'd build 'em a new barracks here if I could. But where would I put 'em? There just ain't enough room up here on the rock. Which leaves us in a bit of a pickle. The people we're counting on to keep us safe are living like beggars.
I see.
And it isn't just that lot. There's bears to think about too. There's been more and more of them turning up lately, coming from all over looking for safe haven. But there's only so many we can shelter with the room we've got. We can't keep cramming more and more people into less and less space. What we need is a new home for our new arrivals. And that's what I was hoping you might help me with. If it ain't too much of a burden, of course.
It's no burden.
Thank you, Clive.
So, where were you thinking of making this new home?
Well, I reckon we could do a lot worse than Istpula.
Istpula. It's been a long time since I thought about that place.
It was a tragedy, what happened. And if any of us could have done anything to stop it, we would have. But what's done is done. And those who lived there wouldn't have wanted the village they loved to be left in ruins.
I suppose you're right.
The blight might be pressing in, but I reckon it's got a good few years left in it yet. There's just one problem. A band of cutthroats have made it their den, and they don't seem like they'll be moving on in a hurry. Nasty bastards they are too. I've lost some good men to their raids. Would have sent someone to clear 'em out sooner if my boys didn't already have their hands full fending off the Akashic. But now we've got a few more guardians of the flame to call on. I reckon it's time we made our move. What do you say? Fancy leading a raiding party?
I do. Istpula was once home to people I loved. I won't have bandits sully those memories. I'll gladly drive them out of there.
And I know the men will gladly follow you. I've already shared a few thoughts with Sir Wade about how we might be able to win the place back. And I dare say he's got some ideas of his own too. Why don't you go and talk to him?
Of course.
Martha's got a big heart. It's a pity there's so many who are happy to take advantage of it.
All right, Sir Wade. Let's hear your plan. Sir Wade, it's good to see you well.
And you, Lord Rossfield. And you.
I spoke with Martha. She tells me you have plans to free Istpula and make it your own.
That's right, though it was mostly her idea. I rather fear my men have been treading on her toes somewhat since joining us, not to mention each other's. And then there are the bearers, men and women who found the courage to flee their masters and sought refuge here. We need somewhere to settle them, and I can think of worse places than Istpula.
As can I. Which is why I agreed to help you win it back.
That's very kind of you. I'd be most grateful if you would. With you beside us, we shall soon send that rabble of rogues running for the hills.
So, what can you tell me?
That thankfully there aren't too many of them. Fewer than a dozen at our last count. And rather less, thankfully. The road that leads there will more than likely still be crawling with Akashic. A small force would suffice to clear the village, but if the Akashic were to follow them in, that force could end up trapped between a rock and a very hard place indeed.
I'll head into Istpula and deal with the bandits. You and the Guardians can stay outside the village and fend off any Akashic who come too close. Make sure I'm not taken unawares.
I can't ask you to bear all that risk yourself, my lord.
The Akashic are the bigger risk. I can handle a few bandits.
Well, if you're sure, I shall summon my men at once.
Shall I wait for you here?
No need, my lord. You go on ahead. We'll be with you before long.
All right. I'll meet you at Istpula then.
We shall see you there. And may victory await our coming.
Just walk in here. Kill him.
Or face the consequences. That's the end of that then. Or maybe not. What's that thing doing here? Doesn't matter. It goes too. Any more surprises? I'll take that as a no.
Bravo. A magnificent display, my lord.
You were watching? I thought you were keeping an eye out for a Kashik.
We were. Put down more than a few on the road, then arrived just in time to see you slay that... whatever it was.
Let's hope it was the last of its kind. Though I expect you and the Guardians will be up to the challenge should another appear.
I would hope so, my lord.
Your men will be bringing the bearers who'll be living here, I assume. It might be best to send word for them to come right away, before any other unsavory characters move in.
Of course. I'll send orders for them to depart immediately. Leave it with me, my lord.
Home. Without masters.
No. We're the masters now. Our lives are our own at last.
That's all of them, and not a single Akashek in sight. Now to begin the important work of rebuilding the place. It won't be easy, especially not after 5 years of beasts and blackguards having their wicked way with the place. The masonry might still be sturdy enough, but half the beams are rotted. Those that weren't lost in the fire or burned by the bandits, that is. It'll take a bit of elbow grease, but we'll see Istpula rise again. Just you wait.
So wait. Lady Hannah is buried here. If you don't mind, I'd like Oscar to join the rebuilding efforts. He should be a part of this.
Of course. I couldn't agree more.
I'll let Martha know that everyone arrived safely. If you need anything more, you have only to send a Stolas.
And we will, my lord. Safe travels.
Istpula's in safe hands. Time to go and tell Martha the good news.
Well, there's a lot that needs doing, and no mistake. We'll have to fatten the bearers up a bit so they can pull their weight and actually make a difference.
Ah, there you are. All went well then. Sir Wade told me you got rid of the bandits while his lot kept an eye out. Nicely done. What's all this about some shape-shifting nightmare showing up? On second thoughts, don't tell me. It'll only give me nightmares of me own. What matters is you did it, and now we can build our new village.
I suppose it will be. What will you call it?
What else? Istpul. Sir Wade said it best. There's plenty bad happened to that place, but that don't undo the good that happened there. No need to throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Did Wade say that?
Well, something along those lines. Anyway, the poor souls might have made it to Istpul, but their work ain't done yet. So the way I see it, neither is mine. If it's food or lumber or strong backs they need, the rest is ready to provide it.
Thank you, Martha.
No, thank you. You didn't have to help us.
I wanted to.
Ah, Clive, I was just about to send for you. I'd like you to take something to Sir Wade up in Istpul. Seeds for planting. Thought it was about time they started growing their own food. I'll keep providing them with whatever they need in the meantime, of course. But if Istpul's going to survive, it's got to be able to fend for itself. As of those poor bearers. They've lived their whole lives in servitude, but now they're their own masters. Small wonder they ain't got the foggiest how to provide for themselves. So it's up to us to teach them. And if you're wondering why you, well, the wagoneers taking supplies up that way have been coming back with more and more reports of Akashic around the village of late. Sir Wade's putting a brave face on it, but I think even he's starting to worry. And if he's likely to share those concerns with anyone, it's you.
All right.
Thanks. Wouldn't ask if I didn't have to. There. That should be enough to keep him in Gazal Greens for a few years at least.
Gazal Greens.
Not the most mouth-watering crop, I'll admit. But they're hardy, they grow fast, and they fill a hole. Better that than something that'll wither away at first frost. And chocobos love 'em too, which is no small thing. When I say all of us need to pull together to get Istpul back on its feet, I mean all of us. They ain't exactly succulent, but cook 'em right and they're just about bearable.
I'll take your word for it.
Anyway, Sir Wade'll know what to do with them. And if he don't, well, I'll go up there and show him myself.
I'm sure you will.
I heard the Guardian saying we're supposed to grow.
Ah, Lord Rossfield. What brings you to Istpul?
A delivery from Martha.
These are Gazal green seeds. Martha's keen to cut the apron strings then, is she? I jest, of course. You see, I had thought we might be able to revive the old wheat fields, but they'd long since gone to seed, only without the seeds.
Martha was hoping he might be able to show the bearers how to plant and tend these, so that they'll be able to fend for themselves.
That's not a bad idea. These bearers had only recently escaped their bonds before we brought them here. They know little of freedom, of providing for themselves and their loved ones. Unless we teach them how to live like free men, I fear that all we have achieved in bringing them here is to exchange one master for another. Not that myself and the Guardians have been the best example to them so far, subsisting almost entirely on Martha's charity as we do. It's about time we all started to provide for ourselves, bearers and Guardians alike. Unfortunately, we've been a little too busy of late to focus on much besides bolstering our defenses. There have been alarming reports of...
The Horde is closing in. They're coming, Sir Wade, all of them.
Damn it all, I thought we'd have more time. Gather the men in the square. Send to the rest for reinforcements.
Yes, Sir Wade.
horde?
Akashic, a veritable legion of them. They've been seen prowling around the northern reaches for a while now. We don't have the numbers to hold back a swarm that size. I had hoped to build a perimeter wall so that myself and the Guardians might be able to defend the village, but...
Now you're out of time.
Precisely. If reinforcements from the rest arrive before they do, we may just scrape through, but I fear that's rather an enormous if.
What if you could call on reinforcements from Istpula?
You mean the bearers? We brought them here so they might live, not die, fighting for their lives.
So wait. You said you lacked men to defend the village. Are the bearers not men? Do they not wish to see Istpula saved? Though they may not be trained soldiers like your guardians. What help they are able to offer could still prove the difference between victory and defeat.
You're right, my lord. I will appeal to them. My friends, I humbly beg your aid. We Guardians are few and our enemies many. But I swear we can defeat them with you at our side.
You would send us to the slaughter, to serve as bait for those fiends so that you and your men might be spared. And to think we trusted you. Say what you will, a home is not worth dying for.
But it is worth fighting for. Sir Wade fights to give you lot a chance. Just like I do. Just like Sid does. We all wanted to give you a home where you could be free. And you got one, didn't you? This place, Istpula. This is your village. Your home. And if you don't fight to protect what's yours, you'll lose it. You know I'm right. This world wants to take everything from you. Everything. Your homes, your freedom, your very lives. So then, are you going to stand by and let that happen to you? Are you going to accept fate like good little Bran did and die, having never stood up for yourselves? Or will you fight like free men and women?
What are you doing?
All right. Give me a sword. I never dreamt I'd have a home of my own. And now that I have, I don't want to lose it. I will protect what's mine, or die trying.
We all will. Free men and women, fighting together. For Istpula! For Istpula! Thank you, Martha.
Don't mention it. Just promise me one thing. That you'll show them how freeborn fight.
Gladly.
Well, if it was numbers you were lacking, you certainly won't be now.
Thanks to you.
Me? Oh, I just love the sound of my own voice.
Lord Rossfield, my lady, we're ready.
So what's the plan of action?
We'll divide our forces into several small detachments, each made up of guardians, bearers, and guards from the rest. These will position themselves at strategic points around the village. Upon engaging with the Akashic, each detachment will keep the creatures occupied as best they can, steadily retreating all the while.
You're going to lure them into the village?
I am. We will have neither the time nor the resources to treat the wounded, so injuries must be avoided at all costs. Instead, we will focus purely on defense at first. By coordinating our withdrawal through the use of messengers drawn from among the bearers, we will aim to have the swarm converge at a point of our choosing. With luck, that point will be the village square, the perfect place for our most able warriors to surround them and fall upon them, and for you and I to finish them off.
A sound plan, but one that'll require a leader with a cool head and strong nerves to coordinate the retreat. I'd say you have both in abundance, Sir Wade, but you'll be needed. Please, leave the last of the fighting to me.
Ha! And let you have all the glory.
Sir Wade! They're here!
Then you know what you must do. We work together, everyone playing their part, each shielding the other that no man might fall, that Istpula might live on. For Rosaria!
For Rosaria!
We've no time to argue, my lord. I'll do as you ask.
And I will do as you ask.
Suppose we'd better do our bit too then, eh?
Right you are, Martha.
The calm before the storm. And here it comes. Not let this village fall.
Well done.
Looks like that's the last of them.
Lord Rossfield! Change of plan!
What is it?
Owl from the rest. An Akashic curl's been sighted on Rhiannon's ride and is headed in their direction.
Well, the better half of her guard is here. So wait, how many Akashic remain in Istpula?
Hard to say. My men are still facing some resistance, but I think the worst is behind us. I could order a detachment or two to fall back and...
No. Let them finish the job. You stay here too, Sir Wade. Your men need you. I'll go after the Curl. Join me only when Istpula is won.
If you're sure, my lord. May the Founder protect you.
All right. Back to Istpula.
Lord Rosfield, the Curl, is it?
It's dead.
Thank the Founder for that. And for you, my lord. We were able to eradicate the rest of the Horde. I have guardians posted around the village to keep watch for further attacks, but all seems quiet for now. I hesitate to say it, but I think it might be over.
I think it might.
We did it. We saved Istpula. Thank you, my friends. Thank you.
No, Sir Wade. It's us who should be thanking you. You brought us together. Showed us what it means to fight for what you hold dear.
We never had nothing to call our own before. We didn't know what it meant to protect it, but now we do. We really do.
Forgive us, Sir Wade. You and your people saved us, and still we doubted you. But there's no doubt in my mind anymore. We're free men now, so we have to start acting like it. We have to fight to protect what's ours, to protect Istpula.
And we shall. We all shall. Together. This is our home. And if anyone or anything tries to take it away,
they'll have us to answer to.
Come on then. Let's get to work.
This village isn't gonna rebuild itself.
They're not slaves anymore.
no. They're Rosarians. Your father took pity on the bearer's plight, and I believe if he was still with us today, this is what he would have wanted.
I believe you might be right.
I shall remain here, my lord, and do what I can to help rebuild the village. After all, this is my home now too, and I could hardly call myself an Istpulian if I didn't pull my weight.
I think you'll find it's Eastpudlian, Sir Wade. But you should be proud all the same. I'll have to pull my weight too. Can't have the rest getting outclassed. Speaking of which, I ought to be getting back.
Can we continue to count on your support, Martha?
Of course, and I'll be counting on yours too. Us Rosarians have got to stick together, haven't we?
Indeed we have.
And Clive, come by the Golden Stables when you get the chance. I ain't paid you for delivering them seeds yet.
All right. I will.
Lord Rosfield, do you remember our very first mission together? Clearing the goblins from the Stillwind marshes?
How could I forget?
There's one sight that I shall never forget. You, facing off against that giant Morble. Not a trace of fear on your face. Since that day, there have been more than a few times when I felt like giving up. When the odds seemed so stacked in the enemy's favor, I thought I may as well just lay down my sword and surrender. But every time, I would think back to the look in your eyes that day and remember what it means to be a shield. Know that whatever trials Istpula may face, I shall never lose courage. Thanks to you.
So Wade, you have always been a true shield. I know that Istpula, and indeed all of Rosaria, will be safe in your hands.
Thank you, my lord. I know the rest of the world will be safe in yours.
I'll do my best.
We defended Istpula once. and we can do it again, and again, and again.
Thank you, my lord. You showed us what it means to fight for what's ours, and we shall strive to follow in your footsteps.
We couldn't have done this if we hadn't all pulled together. Even you and Martha chipped in. We owe you a debt of gratitude, my lord.
The hero returns. It's lucky you came by when you did, eh? Not only did my seeds get delivered, but you went and saved Istpula and all.
I just did what I could.
And it's only right that you get rewarded for it. Take it before I change my mind.
Thank you, Martha.
So, Istpula's finally back on its feet again. And a home to free bearers. Who'd have thought we'd see the day, eh?
Well, it was your idea.
I know that, but I never stopped to think what it would mean. Bearers in charge of themselves, thinking for themselves, working for themselves. Like your hideaway, but not even hidden away. Though I suppose the rest ain't much different nowadays. You know, bearers living free like that reminds me of when I first met Sid. Loath as I am to recall that particular day.
I take it you didn't always see eye to eye. What happened?
Well, if you really want to know, I started doing what I do long before I met Sid. In fact, that's how I met him. Or at least how he came to meet me. He showed up at the stables one day, asking questions about who'd been buying up bearers. Founder knows what he thought I was doing with them. Running a hunt, poking around in their innards. Something awful anyway. Me, I thought he was a new constable. Thought the game was up. But somehow we both managed to work out what each other was about. And before I knew it, the cheeky arse was rattling on at me about how I was doing it all wrong. After all my hard work. Told me I was giving them relief, but not freedom. That my bearers were still dying as slaves. Got right under my skin, it did. Told him if he didn't like it, he could bugger off and report me to the garrison. And do you know what he did? He smiled. And then he laughed. And then I did the same. We made a pact that day. That whenever one of us was in need, the other would always be there for him.
And you were?
Well, we both wanted the same thing. To make life better for bearers. Just like your dad. Do you know I was born right around the time Elwyn became Archduke? Growing up, I saw how he tried to change things. He certainly didn't lack for ambition, that one.
Indeed. But the loftier one's ambitions, the harder they are to achieve. Which is why those of us who follow in their footsteps need to finish what people like Sid and my father started.
Suppose you're right, aye. And if we don't manage it, there's always them who come after us. Good thing we've got a few half-decent sorts waiting in the wings, eh? It's almost enough to give you a little bit of hope.
Just a little.
Anyway, enough nattering. Better get back to work. Let's see about making everyone some dinner, shall we? The least the folks who saved Istpula deserve is a hot meal. And you and me ain't gonna save the world on an empty stomach neither.
That sounds like a wonderful idea.
The caravan!
Take that, you naughty thief! And that! Stop it, Wrens! It's dangerous!
Clive! To what do I owe the pleasure?
I just wanted to see how the town's been faring since you brought everyone together.
Since we brought everyone together, all is absolutely wonderful. Conrad and Natalie's hands remain safely away from each other's throats, and firmly at the helm. Our stores are full, and the bandits still too disorganized to raid them. Just as the good Lady Jane and Lord Underhill intended.
Are you a lord? Lubor's going to be one too. They're going to make him the Lord of Dalamil, because of how he stopped all the grown-ups from fighting.
It's the mayor of Dalamil, dear child, and the vote hasn't taken place just yet. But if the people wish me to lead them, I shall. And my first act will be to build a school so that menaces like you two learn not to interrupt your elders. Speaking of menaces, there may be a rather worrying one just over the horizon.
May there indeed.
I'm afraid the example Conrad and Natalie set in putting aside their differences and presenting a united front might have caught the bandits' attention. And they might have elected to take a similar approach. They have formed what one could call a League of Outlaws, and they grow more organized by the day.
We'll fight them all off just like last time, no matter how many of them there are. Won't we, Lubor?
Of course we will. If we continue to work together, we can overcome any challenge we choose to face. The longer we avoid facing this one, the more difficult it will be. Until the only way to overcome it might be to run for the hills. Our best hope is to nip these efforts at organization in the bud, by finding those ne'er-do-wells who have yet to join the cause, and ensuring that they never do. Perhaps a certain Lord Underhill might be willing to lend us his aid once more?
How could I refuse?
Thank you, my lord. Victor will fill you in on the particulars. I have him stationed by the desert gate, receiving and collating reports from my scouts. Such an amenable soul. He reminds me of you.
I'll go and speak with him.
What's the difference between a lord and a mayor? That's easy. One of them swings a sword, the other forges them.
A League of Outlaws. Sounds like we have some competition. Still in Dalamil, Victor?
Ah, Sid.
I thought you'd have returned to Kosnis by now.
I did. Then I came back. I've developed something of a fondness for the place. And having worked so hard to see it saved from one fate, it would seem remiss to abandon it to another. A sentiment Master Lubor certainly isn't shy about exploiting. Hence my doing his bidding yet again.
You're not the only one.
What does he want you to do?
He asked for my aid in putting down the bandits. And he said that you might be able to help me find them.
Then you've come at just the right time. I was on my way to speak with Conrad about how to organize our forces. There are more camps in the vicinity than we can safely strike at once. But we must strike together, and we must strike soon at as many camps as we can. We can't give this league of theirs time to rally its forces.
All right. Which camp shall I take?
There's one upriver. Just out there, across the dunes.
Leave it with me. That must be the camp Victor mentioned. Come on then, Toggle. Straight home now.
That's him! The one who killed Locke and Fingers! Take his head off!
I'd better let Victor know.
Sid, where are you? Ah, I see the bandits didn't pose you any trouble.
No, but that's not why you're here, is it?
No. Something's happened. We need you back in Dalimil.
What is it?
The whole town's in uproar. They're saying that Lubor is a bearer.
What?
Seems that one of our parties wasn't as thorough as they should have been. They let one of the bandits escape, and his escape route took him right through Dalimil. Some of the children spotted him, and he was about to silence them. And when Lubor felled him with a bolt of magic, and without a crystal.
But that's not possible.
It is, if he's a bearer and has been hiding it all these years, which is what people are saying. If he has, well, I wouldn't blame him. No man is branded by choice. Still, all those people see is a man who's lied to them all his life. One who was made a leader of himself when the world believed he should have been a slave.
Fuck.
I don't know where we go from here, but I know one thing. Lubor needs all the friends he can get right now.
You're right.
And now everyone knows. I made it a habit to keep a crystal close at hand for just such an occasion. And when that occasion arose, I forgot to reach for it. Well, it was bound to come out sooner or later.
We're sorry, Lubor. We tried to keep running, but we just couldn't anymore.
There's nothing to be sorry for. I rather enjoyed playing the hero for once. All that matters to me is that you two are safe.
Look at him talking to his betters like it's nothing.
All lies, I'll wager. Just like the ones he fed us all these years.
Once people make up their minds, it's hard to change them. We need to do something, and quickly. Convince the people not to let their prejudices blind them. Convince them that nothing has changed. That their enemy lies outside these walls, not within them.
You're right. We should speak to everyone.
I'm glad you agree. I'll handle the townsfolk. I'm a Dalmec born and bred. They listen to me. You head to the tavern. Make Conrad and Natalie remember who Lubor really is. They know that Lubor and I are friends. I might not make for the most impartial of interlocutors. Lord Underhill of Randalar's League of Merchants, however, is a trusted and impartial mediator of note.
I'll do what I can. Lubor, stay here with the children. I can't promise anything, but we'll try.
And that is all I can ask of you.
Why are you taking the bearer's side, Victor? Are you one too?
No, I'm not. Just listen.
Why do they always have to make such a fuss outside?
He knew all along that he was playing us for fools.
And we fell for it. We followed him. A bearer.
Forgive me for disturbing you, but could I have a moment of your time?
I've seen your face before.
As have I. Lord Underhill, wasn't it? Of the League of Merchants.
That's right. I wanted to speak to you about Lubor.
The rumors that he's a bearer. All true, I'm afraid.
He'll never be mayor now. Not if I have anything to do with it.
But what of his wares? Bearer or no, his steel is highly valued throughout the Republic. In this at least, he's done the town a service. Might that not earn him a little leniency?
Leniency? He pretended to be one of us when he was laughing behind our backs all the while.
I'm sorry, my lord, but he lied to us. He lied to you. He cannot be trusted.
So what do you propose? Will you drive him from his home? Close his forge?
Perhaps. That is a question for the people of Dalimil, and they will thank you not to get involved.
The townsfolk have made their minds up. There was nothing I could do.
Nor I. Conrad and Natalie refused to consider anything but their own wounded pride.
You never know. Once their anger is cooled, they might see things differently. For now, we should report back to Lubor.
All right.
Why do they always have to make such a...
Why the hell would Victor take the bearer's side?
For a share in Lubor's ill-gotten gil, perhaps?
I assume the situation is hopeless?
There's still hope. But...
But perhaps not in this lifetime, I think it's fair to say.
You mustn't think like that, Lubor. Give them time. They'll come around. We'll talk some sense into them in the end, you'll see.
No, you won't. And your efforts would be better spent elsewhere.
But Lubor...
Rosina would often tell me that steel does not lie, that a blade is a reflection of the smith who forged it. To yourself be true, that was her point. Rather an ironic one when you consider that her life was taken with a blade of her own making. But I do not doubt that she was always true to herself and what she believed in, right to the end. And so must I be. I must do what I know to be right, no matter what others might think of me. And now, I know what that is. I must embrace my new role of villain so that the people of Dalimil have something to unite against. For only united can they hope to stand against the threat that awaits them. I'll need to make a suitably dramatic exit, of course.
Don't go, Lubor. You're the only one who was ever kind to us. We'll be all alone. Again.
Trust me, little ones. It is for the best that I go. Not only for the town, but for you, too.
How could it possibly be for the best? These children need you. The least you can do is give the townspeople a chance to change their minds.
They would not take it, Victor. It's over.
Over, you say? And so just like that, you're going to throw this town and these children to the wolves? I thought you were better than this. But it seems you had me fooled as well.
Victor.
Forget it. Do what you will.
You sure you're making the right choice, Lubor?
Of those available to me, I believe it's the best one. Yes. Ah, but where are my manners? Here. Your reward for clearing out that bandit camp. Right then. I have packing to do.
If there's anything I can do. Anything.
I'll bear it in mind. Thank you.
Why is everyone being mean to Lubor? He didn't do anything wrong. I'm going to go with him.
Is that blade for hire, perchance? Because I have a mind to make a killing.
Figuratively, I hope.
Well, yes and no. A passing caravan carried with it a rumor most fortuitous for one in my trade. that an elder Dread Evis had been sighted in the fields of Korava. Dread Evis are aggressive beasts. Compelled as they are to acts of violence, few survive to maturity, but those that do develop a hide of phenomenal value.
A hide you want to sell?
Eventually, yes. Though I would have it tanned first that it might be crafted into marvels the likes of which the world has never seen. Dread Evis skin is a rare thing indeed. But the worked hide of a well-aged beast, now that would fetch such coin that Gilbert himself might weep with envy. Bring me that beast's skin, and I will share with you the bounty of our combined labors.
All right. I'll hunt your Evis.
Of course you will. When one lives in such troubled times, it is a fool who lets opportunity slip his grasp. Leave Tabor through the east gate, but take the path that branches west. Once you reach the checkpoint at Tovany, you are a mere stone's throw from the fields of Korava. I eagerly await your safe, and above all, triumphant return.
Old he may be, but it looks like there's still plenty of fight in him yet. This thing reeks. The sooner it's off my hands, the better. Here's your hide, as requested.
I worried you might never return. Quickly, let me see it. Oh, as supple as a maiden's cheek, yet as adamant as her virtue. This is everything I had hoped for, and more. Clearly, my trust in you was not misplaced. You must be a hunter of considerable talent to have bested the beast with nary a scratch. Join me as my honored partner. With my means and your might, we shall be as wealthy as the merchant kings of Zemeckis.
I don't plan on making a habit of this. I'm busy enough as it is.
Very well. Though I believe fate had a hand in our meeting, it would be unbecoming of me to beg. Do not allow me to keep you from being about your business. Here, for the hide. This is hide unlike any I've had the pleasure of handling. My clients will pay a fortune for the merest scrap.